Concierge Q's You Are Here coverage of the 2015 Dent Conference is sponsored by Stephanie Sellers. Our passion is your passion. Starting, growing, and managing your collection. Catherine Stephanie, a rare and collectible wine specialist.
I'm Derek Agnew with Concierge Q, where travel meets entertainment. You are here at the 2015 Dent Conference in beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho. Very fortunate today to be joined by Olympic legend Dick Fosbury. Dick, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Now, Dick revolutionized the sport of high jumping back in the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City with a Fosbury Flop that took you onto a gold medal and Olympic record, so very successful for you. And still to this day, the technique, the Fosbury Flop, is used by high jumpers across the world. Now, Dick, the Dent Conference going on. This year, you're an attendee at it. But last year, you were, in fact, one of the most talked about speakers of the conference. Share some of the highlights we talked about last year at the Dent Conference.
Yeah, it was really fun, Derek, because I was not really scheduled on the itinerary, but because of weather delays on travel, I was able to fill in. And we had a great conversation on stage, and I talked about the innovative process, about creating my own technique and the challenges of naysayers, and obviously with any creativity, you have to demonstrate results. So as long as I was improving with my technique, my coach let me run with it.
Technique that you started at Medford High School when you were about 16 years old. I love the story. You couldn't get over 5 feet. You had to figure out something to get yourself going. And then it really took you on a scholarship at Oregon State. People started to pay attention to this in 1968, cover of USA Track and Field News. It was getting to be known across the country.
Yeah, because it was so radically different, I started by transforming an old technique into something that was new and modern. Okay. And so it was so radically different that it garnered a lot of attention, and everywhere I went, the crowd was going nuts. Yeah. And I was jumping really well, improving because my coach had put me on an excellent training program. And by the end of the Olympic Games, setting a new national and games record, but really launching the technique, it's changed the event. It took a generation for all of the high jumpers to adopt it, but today it's universal.
Today it doesn't seem like you can watch the high jump without seeing somebody do that.
Right.
Talk about speaking. I know you're a sought-after corporate speaker both domestically and internationally. When you go out to speak to companies, what's the message you're usually trying to relay to them?
Well, talking about, typically about creativity and innovation, but as well as that, you've got to have results. And so one of the things that I've learned through the years traveling around the world when I was president of the World Olympians Association, I learned there's a common theme of that we kind of termed it Olympian thinking, about passion, vision, and action. Anything that you do, you've got to have that passion first to drive you. You need a plan and a vision of where you're going, and then it doesn't do any good to sit and daydream about it. You've got to act. And so I love talking about that and what companies are trying to achieve today with constant innovation. Our technology continues to improve. So it's really been fun.
Speaking of companies, I'm sure it's fun, but I've got to imagine as a legendary athlete, when you get to work with the kids, that's going to be the most rewarding thing. You have your own track camp, you personally teach there. How much do you get out of it to still be working with the kids and relaying these kind of messages to them?
No, I think that's one of the best things that I do. Ever since I came home from the Olympic Games and having this radically new technique, my coach and I were teaching other coaches how to teach this technique and do it safely. Right. But ever since then, I've done clinics around the world and have started a couple track camps. I've got one in Pocatello, Idaho with Simplot Games, and it's really one of the best things that I do to not only teach technique and training,
right,
which you could relate to, but also tell stories that teach lessons about sport, about not ever giving up. Once you find something that you love to do, follow your dream and follow that passion.
It's one of the great things about sports, the life lessons it gives to us.
It is.
You brought up the Simplot Games down in Pocatello. I think it's been going on 35 years now. You're the honorary chairman of the Simplot Games. What are the Simplot Games, and what is that role for you?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest track meets indoors for high school kids, and it's different because most of the big meets like that are only by invitation. This is any kid can apply to enter the track meet, so it's what we called an all-comers meet. 2,100 athletes came this year from North America, Mexico, Canada, United States, and for the first time we had a team from Australia. So it's truly global because of Simplot's operations around the world. And I'm really proud to invite my Olympian friends to come, tell stories, and sign autographs.
That's going to be a lot of fun for you. Now, Adidas, you're wearing Adidas on your shirt there, your zip up. This relationship goes back to the 1968 Olympics. You and Adidas have been working together. You're now an ambassador for Adidas. I know you recently had a trip to Seattle. As your role as ambassador, you're working on some good things for Adidas, aren't you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Once again, the technology is changing, and the wearables now that individual athletes or for this conference that students are wearing, where they're starting to monitor their physical activities, collect that information and help guide the parents and the teachers when you see some issues and take corrective actions. So we're seeing this at the elite level with Olympians, world championship athletes, and now it's spreading across the country. So it's really exciting stuff to be working on.
It gives you a chance to try to create a healthier, younger generation as well, I'm sure.
That's right.
That's great. Now, the Dent Conference being here in Sun Valley, the goal is to put a dent in the future.
Right.
What does it mean to have it here, though, in Sun Valley, Idaho?
Well, it's fantastic because, once again, it shows that even a village in the middle of Idaho has a network that's truly global. The founders were skiers who came here to recreate. They discovered the summer season, and so they really wanted to bring all their friends here. And I think it's great for all the people that are coming to the conference to see the innovation center that we've developed in Ketchum, to see the Sun Valley Resort and some of the environmental progress that we're making, really changing in renewable energy and a lot of the things, and we're surrounded by this great environment. So it's the reason I've been here 38 years is clean air, blue sky, and stars at night, and it was a great place to raise a family, and even better to be retired here.
Our community is so lucky to have you. So many amazing things you've done the last 38 years. You've worn many hats in our community, so we all thank you for all the efforts you've done for the Wood River Valley and Sun Valley. And I know my kids and I love the trail system, though it goes back to you. So thank you for all of that. Dick, we really appreciate being with us today. And I'm Derek Agnew here at the 2015 Dent Conference with Concierge Q. We'll have more interviews coming up from the Dent Conference in just a few minutes.